everybody, I'm Dr. Angel Storm. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I am talking to you today about personality types and how this influences what a narcissist is attracted to, which personality type is most likely to become a victim of narcissistic abuse, and really another way to know about yourself is another reason that I'm doing this video. So I'm going to get into all of those things, but first of all I want to start with personality types. So I want to make sure that you know that this is not a way to kind of pigeonhole you into a certain label or category, but it is really important that you know yourself. So you should know the types of things that you are prone to, both positive and negative, things that you should be careful about, things that you need to watch for or improve in your own self, right? This is part of the know thyself process that I talk about all the time on this channel. So the Myers-Briggs type indicator, Mbti, is super common, right? Everybody's probably heard of it. If you don't know what your personality type is, check the link in the description of this video. There's a really quick test that you can take. It only takes 10 minutes and you will find out your personality type. Before I get into that, I also want to say, sometimes when people are insecure with who they are, or they are coming out of a traumatic situation and they can't see things clearly, they don't want to be the personality type that they are. They think that isn't me. I'd rather be this one's better. This is not about which one you think is better. This is about understanding who you are and diving down deeper into why is it that you don't want that personality type, and what about that is really irritating you. What about that is causing this reaction of like, I don't want to be that, I want to be this other one. Why do you think that other one is like so much better? And honestly, this is very important because I make my clients take this test before working with me. I make my clients take this test and forward me the email from when they take the test to me. They can't just tell me back the letters, because I've had people who have tried to change the letters. And so I want to know who you are. I want to know how to best reach you. How do you learn best? How do you express yourself? All of that will have an impact on your recovery process, and more importantly, about how you interact with the world once you're ready to get back out there and do your purpose, do whatever you are here to do. And I cannot help you appropriately if I don't know who you are. And if you continue to lie to yourself and to me and to everybody else about your personality type, that's always going to be a hurdle. That's always going to be something that you struggle with, because it has to do with a hole in your identity or a place in your identity that you don't feel secure with, okay? Just for the record, I am ENFJA, so I will get into explaining those letters in just a minute. Really wouldn't want to be another one. And I hope that whatever you guys are, I hope that you each love your personality like that too, because the way that that society will work best is if we know who we are, right? Know thyself. And we know how to best interact with other people. So if you have somebody in your life that you constantly seem to be having miscommunications with, check and see what kind of personality they have. Are they introverted? Are they extroverted? Are they an internal processor? Are they an external processor? How do they best interact with the world around them? That's really going to solve a lot of conflict. So all of that being said, I want to talk about the Myers-Briggs personality types really quickly. Basically, there's 4 categories, and each category you're either one or the other, right? You're either introverted or extroverted, for example, which is the first letter, and you're either one of those, right? You might be both, right? You might have the tendency to be both, but how you experience the world with your energy the best by identifying external or internal. The next letter has to do with sensing and intuition. So this has to do with whether you want to just talk about concrete things that you see, that you're doing, that you're experiencing, or if you want to talk about like the ideas behind that, like what, the possibilities, the unknown. You're more into wanting to discover and go deeper beyond what you just see. So that's the second category. The third category is about thinking and feeling. So this has to do with the way that you process information. So do you Think very logical, analytical. There's, point A leads to point B, or are you more of a feeler? Do you just want to talk about how these thoughts make you feel and how you're perceiving those certain things? So one is more abstract, one is more concrete. Feeling also has to do with values. So if you don't like the logical analysis of something, that could, the first place to look is how that makes you feel. How does that make you feel? You're going to find out why you don't like that process, right? There's a feeling somewhere attached to it that does not make you feel like your values are being honored or whatever in that situation. So that's another thing that goes in that category. And the final category is judgment and perception. So judgment does not mean judgmental. Judgment just means I want a structured plan. I like to have a schedule, and I want to stick to this schedule, and I'd rather have a plan moving forward as opposed to being flexible and being kind of go with the flow mentality. And so those are the four main categories. So at the end, there's also something called either the assertive or the turbulent factor. And these are actually very important parts of the personality test, because that is going to describe the way that you view yourself and therefore the way that you interact with the world. So I'm A at the end, which means assertive again. ENFJ, who's a T type personality at the end, the turbulent kind, would have a much lower self-esteem or self-worth. Their body image would be much lesser than what mine is, what my type is. And this is like by a large margin, right? Like 85% of ENFJ will have like very positive body image, and whereas opposed to only 13% of the ENFJ-T type will have a positive body image. So think about the way that will affect that person's personality. We might have the same personality types, but the way that it's expressed through our actual personality is going to be much different. And therefore, the way that you interact with us, the people that we come into contact with, they're going to experience two very, very, very different people, right? And so this is important, because if I was an ENFJ-T, I would want to know, hey, my personality type is prone to having body image issues. I might want to spend some more time developing that part of myself, right? So again, know thyself, because this is going to help you become the best version of yourself. And again, just in my personality, this has to do with the way that I feel anxiety. My personality type has much less feelings of anxiety, much less feelings of sadness or depression, as opposed to the counterpart T at the end. There's the emotional intelligence factor that is much higher with an A, with the assertive type, than the T type. So again, this has a huge, profound effect on the way that we interact with the world. So it's really important that you take the test and you really start looking at some of those things honestly. How well does that thing describe you? Okay, so moving on now, what personality type is the most likely to be a target of a narcissist? That's what this video is really about. And but I really want you to take time to do that test, to really reflect upon it, to find the things that line up with who you are, even if you don't want to look at that, even if you don't want to see that, and do whatever is necessary to improve those parts. Invest in yourself and start really becoming the person that you want to be, not just slapping a different label on it and pretending that you're something else, right? That's so inauthentic, so ingenuine. And again, that mimics the narcissist behavior of wanting to, present this certain face to the world. We all have that tendency, and it's only when we accept ourselves, truly love ourselves the way that we were created and embrace who we are, that we're ever able to make any kind of genuine change or genuine impact in the world outside of us too. So, as I said, I make my clients take this quiz and send me the results so that they don't just make up whatever personality they think they want to be. And so, you know, there's a lot of reasons why I have them do that. One, I am interested to find out who is being, what personalities are more prone to being taken advantage of by a narcissist, and how do I best reach those people? So I want to know, how do I connect with you the best? How do I speak to you the best? How do I coach you the best so that you are getting tailored coaching, right? As much as possible. So, interestingly enough, I am ENFJ, as I said. The most common personality type to be taken advantage of by a narcissist in my limited sample size that I have going on is INFJ. INFJ, the introvert, basically my personality, but the introvert is more prone to being taken advantage of by a narcissist, and it's actually by a large number, by a large percentage. I hope someday somebody will do like an actual formal study or survey on this topic, but with the limited data that I've gathered so far, it is INFJ. And there's a few reasons for this. The I obviously tells us that they're an introvert, so they already have the tendency to kind of close in on themselves. They're quiet, they'll keep to themselves, they don't really share their thoughts, their feelings, their opinions, and that kind of stuff with people unless they're very comfortable with that person or people, that group of people, and they're specifically asked and they're in the mood, right? The next letter, N, stands for intuition. And that is really tied to introvertism. Like, they have the tendency to even close further in on themselves, feeling all of their feelings on the inside. So this person is already not going to speak up. This person is a deep feeler, and they're going to feel the need to kind of protect themselves by just closing in on themselves even further. So the way that this all plays out, by the way, so although I'm an extrovert, I'm an internal processor, meaning I don't talk to people, I don't ramble and share my thoughts with people in order to understand what I'm thinking. I need people to be quiet and let me just think about the thoughts in my head so that I can process them, right? This doesn't have to do with whether you're introverted or extroverted. This has to do with the way that you process information. I have friends who need to tell me the entire story, and they have to tell me like every little detail of the story, like how bright the light was in the restaurant, and what color the chairs were, and where they were sitting in the restaurant, and what color shirt they had on. So for me, I don't want to do that. I want to tell you, like, I went to the restaurant at 7 p.m. and I met so-and-so, and that's it. That's all I want to tell you, right? And that's fine for me because in my mind, I've already processed all of that information. Whereas an external processor really needs to hear themselves talking in order to really put all of the pieces of the puzzle together. And by the way, all of the external processors out there, you need to find yourself a good internal processor, somebody who understands you are an external processor and you need to hear yourself talk. I love my external processing friends. I really, really do, because it's such a different way of thinking, of experiencing the world than what I have. And I just love being able to experience it kind of through them, you know, of hearing all of the details and stuff like that. By the way, this is not to say one is more observant than the other. Both types are able to observe the same if they want to, you know, if they are into that. Both sensing and intuition, the second letter in the category, they're both able to remember details and accumulate a lot of information. It just has to do with the way that they process that. So again, we've got two things happening here. The INFJ, we've got an we've got an introvert. First of all, somebody who's not already more of a quiet spirit, right? They're going to be quiet. They're not loud. They're not going to want to talk about all of their things to other people. They really don't want to share what they want to. They believe like their information is their information. And so if you have a friend who's an introvert and you're trying to tell other people about what they said or what they did or how they experienced something, they're not going to like that. That's a breach of trust to an introvert. Their story is their story, and they'll tell it when they're ready, and they'll tell it to whom they want to tell it when they're ready to tell it. And so if you're an extrovert and you're just going around telling everybody else all of the stories, that's a real breach of trust. So just FYI for that too. Now we have the intuition, IN, the third category of thinking and feeling. Obviously, F is for feeling. So in the INFJ category, the feeler, so they feel all of the feelings. They're in their cave inside of themselves, keeping all of this stuff to themselves, thinking about all of the possibilities, going down every rabbit hole possible, thinking about all of the possible solutions. And they're also thinking about, you know, in terms of the narcissist, okay, the narcissist shows them the love bombing phase, right? And then they show them like the devaluation phase. Well, the INFJ personality is thinking about all of the different ways that this scenario could play out. He could or she could be all of these different things when they're in the love bombing phase, and they could be all of these different things. See how they're getting overwhelmed by the amount of options that they've now presented themselves, because first of all, they're going in on their cave, they're to themselves, they're just thinking about all of these things to themselves, they're an internal processor, they're feeling all of the feelings, they're thinking of all of the possibilities. This is going to continue to snowball the longer that they're with a narcissist. And then the last category is judgment or perception, and obviously the J is for judgment. And the reason that narcissists will find and prey upon INFJ isn't just because they feel so much, they're quiet, they know that they're not the likely ones to go and tell everybody about what's happening, but they also have the most ability to like ruin that person's life. So a J category, the judgment category, wants structure. They want stability. And you will get none of that when you're with a narcissist. And so not only is that you're experiencing all of these things, but now your ability to choose what to do with your life, you know, the ability to set a schedule in your life, the ability to have goals and a plan to get to those goals, it's ruined when you're with a narcissist. And they know that. They know that this personality is being slowly eroded, right? That's part of your identity. So this identity is being slowly eroded all of the time that you're with a narcissist. And this is really going to affect you if your core personality, which is the last letter at the end, either the A or the T, is a T. Because again, this has to do with the way that you naturally are inclined to express yourself, to see the world around you. These are like the core things. The four categories that I listed previously are the way that those things come out of you. They're the way that you express those things. But the core personality is really going to be affected more if your core personality type is a T, turbulent, for INFJ. And it's really important that you know this, because this is not just important for a romantic relationship. This is important when you're getting aligned with a church, if you're making new friends, when you're moving to a new area. Like, this will affect every single part of your life. And if you don't know who you are, how you process things, how you experience the world, and you don't know that, hey, I already have a weakness built into my personality type, although it is super beautiful. I'm a deep empath, right? I can feel people's feelings, I can feel all the energy, and I know I'm supposed to be helping to heal those negative emotions that I feel. If you don't understand how to use that, and again, I've talked about this a long time, like developing your gifts and knowing who you are and how to develop your specific gifts for the calling on your life specifically, then you can't be the best person, the best version of yourself. You know, you can't pull that out. It's in you. You just have to learn how to interact with the world so that that best part of you can come up. And the other thing to keep in mind too is that INFJs by nature do not have boundaries because they're introverted. They feel that their introvertedness is a boundary. They don't understand that a boundary is something that they set outside of them. Right? These people want to be in their little cave inside all of the time, that they're like, just stay out of my cave, right? But they don't understand that, like, hey, you need a fence around that cave. If you want that cave to work for you and to have that be like this safe place for you to process life and everything that you're experiencing, you still have to have a fence. And they don't intuitively know how to do that. They have to be taught. We all need to be taught about how to set boundaries, but this specific personality, you need to spend time developing that as an actual skill, and especially if their core personality again is a T. If you're turbulent personality type, if that's your core, you're really going to need to invest time setting up boundaries. So you guys, this was a longer video, but I hope it was helpful. I hope that this information is beneficial to y'all, and please go take that personality test, you guys. It's so important that you know yourself, that you know how you experience the world, so that you can become the best version of yourself, and so that you can teach other people to do the same thing. Imagine all of the people out there who don't know who they are, and they're having kids and raising children, raising up a next generation of people who don't know who they are. They don't know who their identity is, what their identity is. They don't know what their calling in life is. All of that kind of stuff is just so important. This does not just end with you. It does not just end with your family. This is affecting society. And as I've spoken about before in a previous video, if you want to change society, change yourself first. Identify the things that you need to take responsibility for, take authority over, and start making changes there. And then you'll be equipped to push that out into the rest of the world and see a change outside of you. Change your inner world and your outer world will follow. Thanks so much for joining again, you guys. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to my channel below and turn on the little bell so that you're notified whenever I upload a new video to this channel.